It is another beautiful day and the first of its kind in like 4 weeks. I've been absent on Insightful Moment, but I want to tell you that we are back. This is another fresh edition of Insightful Moment. My name is Jare Tiamiyu. The House of Assembly in Osun State is a 2-year-old now. I mean, the 7th Assembly. What exactly is happening? What have been the achievement of these lawmakers? You could remember during the last year we had the first anniversary of the House of Assembly, the 7th Assembly to be precise. And then where we had the Honorable Representative of Osun State Constituency, Honorable Ire Kandu, and Adewumi Adeyemi, and the Honorable Representing Iwo State Constituency, Honorable Alil Adebayo Uzama. And today, I want to have two honorables. We are going to be having to this edition and the subsequent one. And what are we going to be discussing? We are going to be discussing the House of Assembly at second, at two, the 7th Assembly to be precise. What have been their achievements? And then the politics in Osun State, what is really happening, it is becoming, tense. It is becoming more interesting as days go by. What is really going on? Today I will be speaking with Honorable Babatunde Desmond Ojo, the lawmaker representing Oyetola State constituency. Honorable Ojo will be telling us what his achievement has been in the last 2 years since he has come into the House of Assembly. And he'll be telling us that the intervention with the people he represents. And finally, we'll be discussing the politics in Osun State. Stay tuned. I'll be right back with my guests. Yeah, welcome back from that very short break. I'm here with Honorable Babatunde Desmond Ojo, the lawmaker representing the good people of Oyetola State constituency in the Osun State House of Assembly, the 7th Assembly. Is going to be telling us what has been his achievement in the last 2 years, how has been the House in the last 2 years, and then we'll also talk about the politics in Osun State, what is really happening as we know the governorship election is approaching. Honorable Desmond Ojo, Honorable, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon. Yes.
All right, we are going to be talking about your achievements in the last 2 years that you have been in the State Assembly. We know it has been a very rocky and rosy one. The movement has not been that rosy. It has been rough, curve, and even bent at sometimes. And then the House has been on, the parliamentary staff has been on strike for about 3 months now. You are just resuming back. Sir, generally, how will you assess your stay in the House of Assembly? How has been the Parliament in the last 2 years that you have been there?
Good morning, viewers. Thank you for coming and thank you for that question. The last 24 months have been eventful for me. As the Honorable representing Oyetola State constituency by the grace of God, we've had a up and down as the government in the state of Osun. In the last 24 months, we had COVID for 6 months, and parliamentary association has been on strike for 3 months. So, literally, we've been working for only 15 months out of the 24 months, but it has been eventful. Generally speaking, as the 7th Assembly in the state of Osun House of Assembly, we've been able to achieve a lot. We've been able to do about 11 bills. We've been able to pass a lot of motions in their terms. And we've been able to also do public hearing for a few times, and we've been able to do resounding bills that have direct impact on the lives of our people. Let me just mention 3. We passed the appropriation bill for 2020 and 2021 in record time before December. We were also able to pass the Osun Youth Development Agency bill that gave back to the Osun State youth policy that His Excellency Mr. Governor launched a few weeks ago. Also, it's of great importance is the Osun Security Networks, the Southwest Security Network, the Amoteco, that has been very, very effective. That actually affects my constituency being on the major federal government road. And by the grace of God, generally, the 7th Assembly has been very, very good in the last 2 years. And personally, we can count a number of things the Lord has supposed to do for our good people in Oriade.
Okay, let me start from where you just stopped. What you have been able to do for the good people in Oriade local government, sir. In terms of intervention and in terms of empowerment, as a young person, how will you tell us what have you been able to do to uplift people from poverty and also to get the youth empowered in Oriade State constituency?
Thank you. For the benefit of our viewers and our constituents, the main function or the main responsibility of representation is making laws, oversight, budgeting, and obviously constituency engagement. And in all these areas, we've been able to achieve one or two things. In terms of making laws, we've been able to put in 3 bills, which are personal member bills. Oversight, I belong to so many committees, and I've always been in the forefront. By the grace of God, I'm the chairman of House Committee on Lands. And in terms of constituency engagement, one, we have 5 cardinal points because our ethos has been to impact, influence, and improve the lives of our people. And we've been able to cover some of these areas in the last 2 years. Few months ago, we commissioned, by the grace of God, for some water bore projects that I did myself. And in the last 2 years, we've been able to give 60 JAM forms to Oriade indigent students. Also, we've been up till now, we still sponsor 24 students in the technical college in terms of scholarship. They're still there in the technical college, Ijebu Road. And also, in the last, in terms of facilitation, we've been able to facilitate a number of projects from the federal and the state. If you go through Ilesha, Ijebu Road, you can see a massive construction going on. By the grace of God, we were able to write FEMA, and our letter was part of the things that brought them to that side. Also, the state government has been helpful in fixing a number of roads. Of great importance is the road from Ipe to Ijesha to Itioni, Ijesha. And by the grace of God, also, we've been able to influence a number of government support for our people. For example, the public works were able to influence about 120 of it to our constituents. The commerce loan support for our women were able to facilitate 5. We were able to put one of our constituents in the nursing profession in Ashobiaro. And also, we have a lot of other empowerments that we've done for our people in the last 2 years.
Sir, you said something when you were talking the other time. You talked about your constituency being on the major highway, and then you talk about security, how important the Amotekun bill has been. So, as somebody who has been in this constituency for a very long time, how will you describe the security situation in that constituency? Has it improved with the creation of Amotekun?
Yes, I can tell you for a fact that it has improved greatly. Before the advent of Amotekun, our constituency was prone to a lot of banditry and kidnapping from Biori Junction in Ilesha to Iwaraja to Erinyoke to Erinjesha to Ipitu and Owena towards Akure. That's the long stretch of my constituency. And by the grace of God, there's increased patrol of police and Amotekun now on that axis, and it has greatly impacted on the security situation in that area. And if there's anything now, the people are there for them to be able to. They have stationary patrol there along the axis, and they are called to rescue. So it has improved greatly in the last 1 year.
Alright, sir, we're going to a very short break now, but when we are back, we'll talk more about the politics in Osun State, and then the grassroots. Oriade is one of the local government with highest landmass, and then we have people at the grassroots. What is really happening there? And also we'll discuss more on the assembly in the last 2 years. Please stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Are you a resident of Osogbo?
Or a visitor to Osun State capital and its environs?
And you want a delicious meal?
La Plate Restaurant provides solution to your challenge.
How do you want it?
Served or office and home deliveries.
Local or continental dishes?
They have a serene environment.
With 24-hour power supply aided by a standby generator.
Would you like to visit La Plate African Lounge?
It's a place for your meetings
And many parties.
Visit them today.
And be treated like a queen and king that you truly have. La Plate Restaurant. Taste with a difference. Welcome back from that very short break. Our guest is here, Honorable Desmond Ojo, the lawmaker representing Oriade State constituency. And as I said, we are discussing at the assembly in the last 2 years. And then his time is very important, especially the people he represents. What has he been able to do for them? And then moving forward, what is really going to happen? Honorable sir, thank you for being part of us. So, Honorable, let's now talk about the politics. You are a member of the All Progressives Congress,
Sure.
and you know that the House of Assembly has 23 members of the APC. Recently, early this year, members of the Opposition People's Democratic Party, they cried out that they were being, annihilated from the runnings of affairs of the House of Assembly. Without being partisan now, will you say that the House of Assembly holder, Right Honorable Timothy Oweye, has been so focused on the members of the APC and neglecting the members of the opposition?
Thank you. It's all politics. But I would like to viewers to know that there's difference between politics and governance.
Okay.
The House of Assembly, we can come here under different platforms. But once we are here, you are the honorable member representing your entire constituency, irrespective of the other party. For example, as the honorable member representing Oriade, I have the interests of all the political parties in my constituency. But the truth of the matter is that in the 7th Assembly, we live more as a family. It is the prerogative of Mr. Speaker to tell you what to do that has to do with the House. And the running of the Assembly is mostly done by the clerk. Mr. Speaker is just the political head of the Assembly and also is an honorable member before he becomes the Speaker. So we see ourselves as one. Nobody is marginalized. The truth of the matter is that it is what we are entitled to that they are entitled to. You know, there are stipulations and laws that guides the running of the House of Assembly. We live like a family. But you know, in politics, you can't separate things like that. From what go, we know that the majority of the House controls the House. So the opposition cannot have the knowledge of what the majority has in terms of.
Sorry, are you saying that it is the game here has been majority have their ways and minority have their say? Is that what is actually happening?
The truth matter is that the majority will always have their way, whether you like it or not, because what we need in every decision is the 2/3 majority. And we have like 90% of the majority. So but we don't even use that as a yardstick. We still make sure that we carry all the other honorable members because we are all colleagues. We leave the partisan relationship by the gates, but when we're here for serious legislative work, and we don't discriminate.
Okay. Honorable, let's just talk about the assembly. Some people, the people of Osun State are talking about the local government that has been without recognized headship in the last about 5 months now, or more than 5 months, that we don't have. Though some people are saying, okay, assembly has been on. The doors of the assembly has been shut for about 3 months out of this. But the first 2 months before the assembly doors were shut, what was the House doing to ensure that the local governments they have recognized headship in all our local government areas?
Let me correct one impression. It is not in the purview of the assembly to appoint local government chairman. They are meant to go through elections.
Okay.
Or we use what is called caretaker.
Okay.
And I won't agree with you with the fact that the local government does not have headship. there's an organogram. Presently, the local government in Osun do have council managers that are running the local government effectively. That's why.
Is that part of the law that you actually amended?
No, I'm just telling you, in case there's no recognized, as you call it, to me, which is the chairman of the local government, the council manager can run the affairs of the local government.
Is it part of the law?
No, it's not part of the. It's
so
not. It is. Yes, of course. If
legally,
legally, the council manager runs the affairs of the.
I'm saying that is it part of the law you amended?
No, it's not part of the law.
So
but the law.
How are they recognized?
Let me now go back to the law.
Okay.
The law we have in position now is that the caretaker can actually run the affairs of the local government, but is in the purview of the executive and the party to give us the names of the caretaker to run the affairs of the local government. And we're still waiting for the list as I speak to you today, 22nd of June 2021. But I can assure you that if the list gets to the house today, it doesn't take us 2-3 days to sort it out. But we're waiting. It is the job of, we've done the bill, and it is the responsibility of the executive governor and the party to send us the lists of the caretaker, and we just do the needful.
As a lawmaker, how do you feel when you realize that the law you are passing in the State Assembly is not being followed by the executive? How do you feel?
Who tells you that?
But you also said that the council manager are not recognized by the law.
No, don't get me wrong. What I'm saying to you is that the council manager are recognized civil servants, and they have the authority to run the local government in case there's a lacuna, in case there's no local government chairman in between the time of their term and the new elections. They are recognized by law to run the local government because they are the lead civil servants in that local government. For example, it's just like before the appointment of commissioners in in all the ministries,
yes,
the permanent secretary runs the affairs of the so they are recognized. But what I'm saying in essence is that it is the responsibility of the executive to appoint caretaker, or we go to election. But in the case of Osun, we're appointing caretakers and we're waiting for the list.
Okay, let's move on to another issue that has to do with politics in Osun State. The High NEC has said governorship election will hold on July 16th, 2022. That was just like 13 months, less than 13 months to this time. As a member of the APC, and then considering the crisis rocking your party now, how do you think your party will come victorious come 2022?
Which crisis?
Okay, you're asking which crisis. Okay, you have top that their main agenda is just to ensure that Governor Oyetola doesn't come back.
That's a lie.
Okay, are you telling me that the top are actually part of...
Let me correct one impression. With all due respect to all our party members and to all our citizens in Osun, we don't have crisis in the APC. It's even in the family, there might be disagreement. And all we need to do is just to sit down around the table and sort it out. Top has not come out to say that they are another group. Don't get me wrong. What they are saying is that let's correct what is wrong in the party. I belong to the APC. I'm number one fan of Mr. Governor in my constituency. And by the grace of God, Mr. Governor will come back for the second time because he has done a lot. But the internal, there's no party that does not have little crisis internally. It's just that it's in the air, and everybody is thinking that it will affect our election. It won't affect our election. Let me tell you what speaks during an election. The quality of leadership and the quality of work you've done in the last few years will speak for you. And by the grace of God, Mr. Governor, His Excellency Oyetola has done a lot in all areas. Is it health? Is it roads? Is it entrepreneurship support? Is it agriculture? In all areas. Today now, I have this invite about the agri-loan support for some women to the tune of 1 million naira. Who does that before now? We are telling you all the roads in Osun are being done. Olaya Iconic Bridge is there. Ede Ara to Ejigbo is there. Roundabout to Kyoye to Muslim to Express in Elisha is there. Ikpetu Jesha to Etioni in Riade is there. In my constituency, I have 13 votes. We have 13 private health center. Let me now also tell you that personally, I was in one of the health center in Osun today to take my vaccine for second jab, and you can see the way they attended to me. It was like a brand new hospital. It is like that all over the state. What it means is that what do our people need? They need quality leadership, and that's what we find in Governor Oyetola, and that is what we need. Our crisis, leave it to us. It's a family problem. We'll sort it out under no time. And I can assure you, come July 16th, 2022, we will come victorious by hundreds of thousands of votes.
You come victorious by hundreds of thousands of votes. But you know, when politicians are speaking, they will say, whatever we journalists say, it's not crisis, it's just misunderstanding. Even when we have it,
you are the one causing the problem.
Even when we don't know what is
happening.
When we have a former commissioner that has come out public to say what he said in that 12 minutes video. But you know, we'll leave that to you to continue.
Leave our problem. Our fathers, they will sort it out.
Remember, moving forward now, what should be people of your constituency should be looking towards in the next 6 months before this year runs out? What are the other plans that you have in your 2021 blueprint for the people of your constituency?
Thank you. By the grace of God, we're looking at empowering vocations, and we'll get you informed, and we invite you before the end of this year, by the grace of God, before December 2021. We're looking at empowering minimum of 10 people from each of our wards, in each of our 13 wards, by the grace of God, in different fields, because in the last 2 years, we've been able to cover a lot in terms of students, the proper educational sector. Now we want to go into vocations, so that we'll be able to cover all areas. Also, by the grace of God, we should be looking at health interventions and other supports by the grace of God to our customer.
By the grace of God, we should be looking towards that, and then I'm very sure that there are promises that people of your constituency are watching, and they will be taking note of that. On that note, I want to say thank you for being part of the show, Honorable Desmond Ojo.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Please join me on the other side. That was our session with Honorable Babatunde Desmond Ojo. Honorable Ojo was able to highlight what his achievements have been in the last 2 years, and he also told us how the house has been. He also spoke on the alleged marginalization of the members of the opposition People's Democratic Party by the leadership of the House of Assembly led by Honorable Timothy Oweye. He was able to tell us that come 2022, January 16, 2022, Governor Oyetola will be re-elected. And he said there is no crisis in their party. According to him, there is no crisis in their party. But we journalists, we see what is happening as crisis in the All Progressives Congress in Osun State. That is how far we can go. Thank you for being part of it. This some other time when I come your way, and that will be the next edition, we will be speaking with another lawmaker. He will also be telling us how has been the house, and then moving forward, what should people be expecting from his office, from his representation. Thank you for being part of the show. This is the one time when I come your way. Enjoy, stay safe, and enjoy your day. Bye for now.